Vatos, thanks again for tuning into yet another video. We're going to be looking at the recent news, the recent event, the 1250 Custom, the concept bike, the liquid cooled Revolution Max. Everybody's been waiting for it. I certainly have been, and some other folks not so much. Like I said, a lot of people just don't like the direction that we're going, but you know, let's just take a look at it and let's see what they have in mind for the future. And honestly, I do like the direction that they're going. I do like this new it's a new engine. It's liquid cool, it's modern. People were complaining about how out of date or how a dinosaur Harley Davidson was, and I believe the main reason why the V-Rod didn't work out, I believe maybe the V-Rod was just a little bit too ahead of its time. Maybe if the V-Rod would have probably came out around this time, I think it would have been a good move. I think the reason why it works out so much now is mainly because the boomers, I don't see them buying brand new bikes anymore. I mean, a lot of these guys are pretty much almost retiring from riding, and I don't think a lot of them are planning on buying any more. I don't think they're buying any more bikes or brand new bikes. I mean, there's still going to be plenty of used bikes out there in the market. And this right here is a big statement. Going ahead and naming this bizarre looking bike a Sportster. It's it's a big move. I think it's just them, you know, just like the slogan, from evolution to revolution. And I think this is a big statement from Harley Davidson. And by them naming this the Sportster, it is what it is. The bike's been around for over 50 years. I already made a video about it, and by them labeling this bike as a Sportster, it's a big statement. I mean, they could have named this all kinds of different things, the 1250 Custom and all this other stuff, but I think by them naming this the Sportster S, it's a statement from Harley Davidson. And you know, it's pretty much out with the traditional, out with the air cooled, and in with the new liquid cooled performance technology. I like it, but let's go ahead and look at the bike itself. I don't know, I mean, it is a little bizarre if you're looking at it from this angle. Obviously the ugliest Revolution Max's side. This side, however, it's a beautiful bike. It looks nice. But if you're looking at it from this angle, it's like, man, what happened? When I went into the demo event for the Pan America, I was really curious about the left side. I saw images of it I wasn't too fond of, and I really wanted to take some images of this side of the engine just so I could get a better look. You look at the air-cooled V-twin, and it's a beautiful engine all the way around. The liquid-cooled from Indian, both of them, you know, that V-twin that Indian has, it's a beautiful-looking engine. Both sides, it's a good-looking engine. This one, however, not so much. And then, I mean, yes, there's a few things like the radiator kind of sticking out that much. I just wish they would have blended in a little bit. And but you know what, this is just a statement from Harley Davidson. They're just putting it out there. It's like, hey, you better accept me or don't, or, you know, love it or hate it. It is what it is. I mean, that's what they're going for. If you guys paid attention to that video, they did said that they turned the notch on the design to 11. So this is pretty much the extreme version of this bike. August is almost here. 2022 is coming around, so hopefully they notch this down a little bit. I mean, this is a little bit too much for my taste. So let's go into a few things that I'm not a fan of. Right away, let's just look at this side. I'm not a fan of this side of the engine. It's hideous. Like I said, I was hoping for them to kind of blend in the radiator a little bit more, but it is what it is. The big front wheel, the big front tires, it's just I don't know. I want to see a narrow tire. I did make a comment on the YouTube channel, and I wanted to see this bike with mids, and I wanted to see it with probably a narrow front wheel. And I don't know. I mean, that's the way I kind of wanted to see it. And for it to have 121 horsepower and for it to be a performance bike, I don't know, it's just weird. It's the same thing with the Fat Bob. It's a performance build. It's got the inverted forks. It's got the big wheels and everything, and then it's got the forward controls. I don't know, it's just kind of bizarre. If you want to throw this thing around and you want to be agile with it, you just have to go with mids. Yeah, I mean, you know what? It's just something that I kind of picked up on from the comments. A lot of people were just kind of saying the same things, like, why put forward controls on this bike if it's a Sportster, if it's a sport sporty Sportster Harley Davidson, why put forward controls on it? It's just something that I kind of picked up in the comments. And another thing a lot of people were also complaining about was the lack of dual disc brakes. Yes, this thing has 121 horsepower, I believe 90 something foot-pounds of torque. It is a beast. Another thing to kind of note on the negative side, I probably, you know what, this just depends on the person. I don't know, it's just weird. I'm telling you guys, it's got the forward controls. It's a sport bike, but typically forward controls means highway riding, long distance riding, and it's got a 3-gallon tank. It's actually smaller than the Street Bob. Just one of those bizarre things, but you know what, I think it's the overall design. This is what they were going for. Like I said, they were talking about pushing the design to the limits, and they pretty much did that with this bike. I think everything else on the bike looks great. I don't know, you guys go ahead and leave your comments down below. I think if you're a fan of the Fat Bob, and if you're a fan of the 48, you are gonna love this bike. This bike is for you. The 48 does have a smaller fuel tank. This one, like I said, I think it's 1 more gallon bigger than the 48, but I'm a fan of the look, and like I said, I'm looking forward to seeing what else they do with this frame. It does sit a little bit higher than an Emmett Softail. I believe it sits about 28 inches, so that might be something that you might be looking at if you're a little bit shorter. My lowrider seat height is about 26 inches. I believe the Fat Bob itself is 27 inches, and this one just seems to be 1 inch taller than the Fat Bob. But it does look great, and I am a fan of where Harley Davidson is going. I do like this direction, so we're gonna just have to cross our fingers and hope August gets here sooner than later, and we could probably see what else they have in mind for this frame. A few good things: it's got the inverted forks, a little bit more stability for your canyon riding. You also have a digital display infotainment system, kind of like what you have on the Indian Chief. So I'm glad Harley Davidson is doing more modern technology, implying something more tech savvy people, the people that are looking to have that technology. This is also Bluetooth, touchscreen, riding modes. I mean, man, this thing goes on, and this is pretty much what we expected. I am surprised though about the performance. It's a 1250T. The Revolution Max on the Pan America, it's a 1250 just Rev Max. So from what I've seen, we're gonna look at the performance, but it looks like this one is geared more towards torque, a little bit more lower end. I mean, not down to 3,000, but from the numbers and from the stats from the video, they said 9,000. But when you're looking at the specs on their website, it says 6,000 for peak performance. I know you could take this up to 9,000 RPM, but I think the 1250T, I'm guessing, I mean, this is just me from the event. They didn't really release a lot of information in the video, but if you look at the website, you can see that it has a little bit more torque, around 6,000 RPM. I'm thinking about the Softail, the M8 Milwaukee. All right, so let's just look at a few key features from Harley Davidson, a few things to kind of point out from their website. It's got that 1250T Revolution Max. I already mentioned that. It has 94 foot-pounds of torque, which is great. I am liking what they're posting. 121 horsepower. You know what? That's pretty much, maybe if you were to put in maybe $8,000, or maybe $8,000 with parts and labor, maybe even $10,000. That's probably what you'll get out of your Milwaukee 8. Somebody had posted some stuff about in the Facebook group. Somebody was just commenting, you know what? How do people feel about this Revolution Max being $3,000 cheaper than your lowrider? I mean, in the Lowrider S group, and being so much more faster than the Lowrider S. And a lot of people's comments from that post was just like, hey, we don't really care about the speed. I mean, this is a cruiser. It's torque. It's just a different bike. And you know what? I think a lot of people feel that way about this bike, and I'm just kind of pointing out that stuff just to kind of give you guys a comparison for those people that are looking at a little bit more of a performance Harley Davidson. So it's just that I believe Blockhead's Goldzilla makes about 150 horsepower and 150 torque, but that bike has maybe, I'd say maybe 15,000 in parts and labor. If you were gonna do it at the dealership, of course. But
a few moments later.
Anyways, I digress. I'm rambling. Let's go ahead and look at the other couple of things here. We have that touch display, Bluetooth, great. It's got GPS, amazing technology. It's gonna have the there's something I forgot. It has the RDRS, and it also has ABS. So pretty great. Some good rider assist there. I believe the Pan America, you could disable the one in the rear. I'm not sure about the front, but this does have I believe it has 4 riding modes. It's got the 3 that are from Harley Davidson, and then you could customize the 4th one, which is great. Talking about customizable riding modes, it's right here in the next key feature. Going on to the next key feature, all LED, turn signals, headlights, everything great. I believe a lot of the specials, the touring models and the Softails, they still just have the headlights, the Daymakers. I believe they have the brake lights too, but as far as the turn signals, no, they're not LED. And then last but not least, it's got cruise control. So yes, you know what? I guess that kind of makes sense, having forward controls and then having the cruise control. That from Harley Davidson, it's about a $500 option on some of the bikes, and then of course you have to get it flashed and everything else from the dealership. So I mean, that could be maybe half an hour or an hour depending on your dealership. So overall, it looks like a very beautiful bike, a great bike. Overall look, it's just, I mean, this just depends on the person. Honestly, I'm not a big fan of the overall look, but maybe the riding and everything else, it might change my mind, maybe. Alright, so then this is where I wanted to show you guys the difference between the 1250 and the 1250T. This is just something that I kind of picked up on. As you can see, we have 94 foot-pounds of torque on both bikes, but if we look at it right here, this 1250T likes to sit around 6,000 RPM for the torque. As far as the Pan America, the regular 1250 Revolution Max, that likes to sit around somewhere at 7,000 RPM. So it's just a little bit of a difference. Maybe that has to do with the horsepower. I don't know the full details. I don't think they've announced if they're changing the cams, or maybe they're moving the VVT, or maybe they've adjusted something, they changed something. I don't know, but it does have 120 horsepower, and that's at 7,500 RPM. So it's just you get to experience that power a little bit more often. This is a bike that you probably want to ride around town, since it does have a 3-gallon tank, and I think having that a little bit sooner than later, that's what I do like about this bike. And I guess that's the difference. I'm guessing that the 1250T is torque, and the 1250 Revolution Max, it's like the best of both worlds, and it's just geared towards a different type of riding. Alright, so that's pretty much it. I just wanted to give you guys my own impressions on what I thought about the bike. Maybe you guys can leave your comments down below. Let me know what you guys think about this new Sportster S. I guess we're not going to know if they're going to discontinue the Sportster. They haven't made an announcement or anything like that. That might come around August, like I said, when the dealer event happens for the 2022. If that happens, then it's pretty much 100% official that the Sportster is done by 2022. But like I said, we're just gonna have to wait until August, or maybe they'll now announce something. Maybe people might get it out of them. I just don't see any news or anything about the Sportster going away, but we could just cross our fingers and see what happens. Maybe this could stick around with the Sportster. I mean, that's what I'm hoping for. I'm hoping that they could live together side by side for many more years, but we're just gonna have to see what Harley Davidson does in August, and I'm looking forward to it. I do have some other videos coming out soon on what I want to see from 2022, and maybe I'll probably do a video on the Sportster Revolution Max. You guys should stay out there, stay safe. Don't believe everything you read. Life's a risk. Get out there and ride. Later.